Hello and welcome to SoBricks. I'm Adam and this is SoBricks. This is my channel for reviewing Lego sets and building them and other Lego related stuff. In this video, I'm going to be taking a look at the Lego Creator 3-in-1 Sunset Track Racer set. This is set number 31089. It has 221 pieces. I paid $18 for this set. This is sealed. This set is retired. It's not very old. It's from, well, time. It's from like 2019, so it is several years old. I don't know when it retired, but I think 2018, 2019 is when this came out. I like Creator 3-in-1s. Into the 2020s, I know they have done some Creator 3-in-1s. There was one that was like a supersonic jet or something that had some similar color schemes to this, I feel, which I really like that one. We got some alternate builds with, this is like the track racer. We got like maybe a street car or something, and then we have like a speedboat here, which looks great. I like Creator 3-in-1s. I like building vehicles, and yeah, I paid $18 for this. I think on Bricklink it can be bought for less than that, maybe under 15 or something, and I think it retailed for 20 in 2019. So I'm not too worried about what I paid, but we'll see. I do like Creator 3-in-1s. It's been a little bit since I've covered one, so I'll probably be doing 3 separate videos for these, and we'll see. Maybe there's some cool alternate builds on Rebrickable or something like that. So I'll have to check those out, and I'm looking forward to it. So in this video, I'm going to open this up. I'm going to put this together. Then I'm going to share my thoughts on it. So while I build, I will speed the video up, and then I'll slow it back down to review this set. So until then, enjoy.
Okay, so while we look at the build for this LEGO Creator 3-in-1 Sunset Track Racer set, I just wanted to say thanks for watching, and then remind you, if you like this video, click the thumbs up. If you like my other videos, click the subscribe button. That helps me a lot. And then I wanted to talk about the build. So we start off here with some pretty rudimentary kind of core sort of chassis for this, using some Technic bricks. It's really strong, but it's just kind of basic. Then we put a bunch of brackets around it, and then we start kind of building the details around those brackets with some studs on the side stuff. We kind of build a seating area, but there are no minifigures in this set. Add on the fenders and stuff like that, some engine details at the back, as well as the kind of side door, side pod areas there as well. We can add the wing and the roof, and then add on the wheels, and that's it. So it comes together quick. And now on to my review for this set.
Okay, so that is this Lego Creator 3-in-1 Sunset Track Racer set. This is the main build for this. This is fun. I know, like, really early on in my channel, I did a couple Creator 3-in-1s. There was a race car. There was a motorcycle one that had similar color schemes between the two of them. The one that I mentioned, the like supersonic jet or whatever, as well, which has a similar color scheme to this. I like these. I know the race car and the motorcycle that I looked at, I think they were some of my very first videos. Those were like not minifig scale or anything like that. This is really an interesting size for this vehicle. There are no minifigures in this set, so we don't have any to look at. And so we'll just dive into the main kind of build here. So I thought the actual build for the chassis was kind of interesting. Very early on, we use these axle bricks, but they're not used for the actual axles of the vehicle. You can kind of see where those are there. We add those on. Eventually, we add some Technic bricks, long ones, I think, one by 14 or 16 or something like that, in there, and kind of build up the base for this. But the majority of it's just like a rectangle, like a 6 by, I don't know, I'm just guessing 14 here, that we then add on to. And basically what you do around all of it is brackets. So the 2x4 brackets that has just the two studs on top, to kind of surround the kind of frame of that Technic all the way around. And then it's just kind of about details and stuff. There are some, not like interesting building techniques necessarily, but I think there's some really interesting lines in here. You can see like this is pretty deep in there. So that's really cool. You know, I think the kind of the effect that this can kind of round over there is done pretty nicely. It also feels, a little bit crude, a little bit blocky, a little bit square, which isn't always a bad thing. Kind of working at the back, we have some kind of, I don't know if it's exhaust or engine things there. At the rear, there are not like internal details necessarily. And then at the back, we have, again, just pretty straightforward. We use these red translucent cheese wedges for the lights back there, exhaust, different stuff. And you can really see that it's only like, there's not a ton of pieces once you use those brackets. You just kind of fill that face with stuff. There are a lot of like slopes in here. So on the like the fender pieces there, kind of the older style ones, like slopes here all the way around, which again give it this nice kind of shape. I think the kind of shape around the fenders into the main core of the vehicle is good. We got the like wing on the back, or the spoiler on the back, using some window pieces underneath there. Very simple build up here. I think the flags on the side that get clipped on and folded in are helpful for some of the shape there. We use this not super tall windscreen there, and I think this is the older trans brown or like dark translucent. So that is always interesting to see. I know I have this exact piece in the newer color. I don't have one immediately right next to me to compare, but the newer one is darker, more opaque than this, and then the actual like color of it is different. So this is like trans black, trans brown, trans gray, or just like dark clear or whatever. This has been updated, and there just isn't a ton here. There's not that many pieces in this set, but size wise it's good. I recently looked at a bunch of the 2025 speed champions that come out in August, and I think this is probably a similar size to those, or maybe a little bit bigger, certainly like chunkier, certainly heavier, and I think a lot of that has to do with these wheels there. I thought up at the front, this cuts really nice. You can see like we have gaps kind of underneath there, but when looking at it head on, you might not really notice that. And there's just like looking down some gaps, but it does feel complete. So looking at it from the top is maybe not the best, but maybe that is also, okay. I don't know. For some reason, there's something about this that feels very like Speed Racer to me. I don't know if it's the color scheme. I don't know if it's some of these shapes in here, but they have made some Speed Racer sets, or at least one. There's one that I would really like to get. It's pretty expensive now because it's from several years ago, but either way, basically what you see here is what you get. Building on the side, kind of for the details here. A lot of tiles, slopes, cheese wedges, different stuff. And again, those are just built on the brackets there. Up at the front, we have the brackets. We actually do a bit more building up there, which like these little square 2x2 areas here are kind of built as a sub-assembly with some studs on the side stuff that eventually just gets tiled over and then connected by things up here. We got, again, the darker translucent, the older color for these cheese wedges there. So you can kind of see that you can see the studs under there, I think, more easily than the new ones. And they just kind of have a muddier sort of color. The new one, I think, has more kind of blue in it. And it's just a very different thing. And that's kind of everything in here. I was wondering, is this minifig scale? So we can open up the roof. So you get some access in that. Just gets clipped on there. Very, very simple roof. And there is like what looks to be an interior. We got the steering wheel here and, some seating area. And I did want to test it because I was like, ooh, with the way that the steering wheel is, I don't know if a figure is actually going to fit in there. And I did test it just with a figure I had handy, which is the, I don't know, Beach Luke figure here. And I was able to, sit them down, but I kind of had to work with the arms and work with the steering wheel. And then actually, like, that's not so bad. I mean, they are pretty close to the steering wheel, but that's convincing enough looking at it from here. Okay, the head like sticks up above the windscreen a little bit, but if it was a drop down or drop top or something, maybe it wouldn't be that weird. Actually, like, that doesn't look that crazy to me. This should maybe be a little bit higher or have the character a little bit lower, but he's got the glasses on or whatever, so he's probably fine in there. And when you have this roof on there, I thought maybe it wouldn't fit, but because this is like carved out in here under this kind of curved piece, this 4x6 sort of slope piece in there, the head actually does fit right in there. Now, it is going to be impossible for that character to see like that because it does like come down a couple plates worth. So if they're tucked up in here, it's going to be really hard to see. And it doesn't like look the absolute best with them in there. It does look a little bit awkward, but they are in there. The steering wheel is in kind of in near their hands. It's at a decent angle where it's not just like a school bus steering wheel where it's just upwards or something like that. And, the roof can close with no interactions or anything like that, which is good. Creator 3-in-1s, when they do them, there are occasionally Creator 3-in-1s that do have minifigures. They're usually nothing like special or anything like that. But I know for various sets that they have included them. For this, they didn't. And I don't know if all of the builds are kind of going to be in this scale. It kind of seems like it. And it's really on this weird kind of edge sort of thing. I mean, this is 8 wide, plus maybe a little bit when the wheels and the fenders and stuff out here, some of the tiles built out there. But for like a lot of this is 8 wide, which is what the speed champions are at now. Maybe this is closer to 9 or 10 or something like that when you really get down to brackets and then tiles and then the tires and whatever. But an 8 wide vehicle has been shown to be perfectly fine for minifig scale. Same with like 6 wide. I mean, 4 wide, I don't know. The minifig scale stuff can be different, but like for modern vehicles like this, comparing this to a Speed Champions, the overall like at least width of it is pretty similar. Height wise, it's probably pretty similar. So it is in a kind of form factor that I think makes sense for minifigures. I don't know if a character would fit if they had like a racing helmet on in there, but it might. I mean, I don't know how much extra space helmets take up over like a general hairpiece or something like that. So that is cool. And this rolls. The axles are connected to each other. I actually, the way that these are on there, I think it's a little bit tight so that they don't spin like especially well the way I had it. So I'm gonna actually make an adjustment where these aren't just put like on there all the way. So there's a little bit of movement there because if we pinch these really tight with the bushing in there on the axle, they would spin not as good. I mean, already having the axle be kind of the axle for that, it does okay. I found, this is actually not bad. When earlier when I had these kind of pushed together more, I found that like now they're really pushed together and this doesn't roll at all. I mean, barely does. So having like a little bit of gap in there in how tight these wheels are put on is important. And same for the little like bushing thing there. You don't even really need the bushings because they're on an axle piece, like the cross piece through there, and you could take the bushings out and then maybe cheat the actual like rim or the inside of the wheel out further from the core of the kind of build here, further from the bricks, and that would probably make it also better in terms of like actually being able to roll and the wheels being able to spin. So let me see if I do that here. If I pop those out, and then we're just going to go kind of like something like that. Now we're spinning way better. And I'm not really concerned with these coming off. Of course, we do have that kind of lateral movement there, but just so I don't have to like fine tune everything in terms of where I need them to be. Using those bushings or those spacers or whatever they are is really nice. But I found that right away, it wasn't the best for making these go. And I do like to test them. And actually, now, yeah, we got that, which is we want to avoid, but it spins really really nicely, it rolls really really nice, so that is an option. I suppose I might have a, oh, I pushed that way too far. You might have a little bit of room to pop these on depending on how it's done and still maintaining enough kind of gap in here so that there's not excess friction on the tires and on the axle and everything. So that's just something to consider. I like when things, I always, basically any vehicle I build, once I put the wheels on, I like to give them a little test spin. That's actually pretty good when even though I have these bushings on. So that is nice, and you just have to be a little bit conscious about that, a little bit aware that that could be a factor, because now this one doesn't roll well because I just have them on a little bit too tight. And there are other, building techniques that and other pieces that Lego uses probably more frequently now to avoid this. Even just having the axles be connected like that isn't something that they always do. They might use the like axle pieces with the stopper on the side that would like come through this way, put a brick on the back of it or something there, and have them come out so that each wheel spins independently of any other one. But in this case, we got the connected axles there, not too big of a deal. And yeah, now I'm feeling like this is moving pretty good here, and I have all the pieces on there. So that is cool. And I think that's kind of everything with this. I like the color scheme. Color blocking feels a little bit uninspired, in my opinion, but that's okay. And maybe the other ones do a little bit of a better job for that aspect of this. And yeah, I mean, it's a simple little build and came together really, really quick. I'll show the extra pieces because you do get some, not a ton, basically what you would expect, your 1x1s, your studs, your tiles. So the T-bar in there, a couple of the cheese wedges, the white as well as the trans brown old color, the trans red there. These translucent or clear studs are used in spaces where you actually can't see them on this. I think in maybe some of the alternate builds for this set, you might be able to see those more. So that is something in there. And that's kind of everything. This set is 221 pieces. It is retired. I paid $18 for it. It retailed for 20 in 2019. So factoring in inflation and market conditions and everything else, getting a retired set Some like Creator 3-in-1 sets will go up crazy in value. For whatever reason, like that fish tank set that I've constantly been trying to like get for a fair price, like that went up a lot in value, and there have been other Creator 3-in-1s that like really go up in value, and there are some that either stay the same or apparently like go down a little bit in value even if I'm just under the retail price. I mean, the Bricklink price for this, like I said, a sealed brand new complete one like I had, probably can get under $15 and then shipping on top of that, but it's certainly not outrageous, and I'm happy with that. You know, slightly not as detailed, not like prints, no stickers, no minifigure, stuff like that, compared to something like a Speed Champions, but we're kind of under that mark. I mean, if it was between one of the older Speed Champions when they were 8 wide and they were $20 and could be pretty reliably found on sale for like, so down to like $16, yeah, I think that's a better deal, a better model, maybe a better toy. But for certain people this is really great, and when I'm considering the value for these, I have to keep in mind that this isn't the only set, this isn't the only build included in the box. So we do have the next alternate one, which looks to be, yeah, kind of a street racing car or just a different kind of classic, more classic looking vehicle there. Um, yeah, and then we have like a boat. I'm probably most excited about the boat, but I'm not sure if I'm going to end up liking it or not, but that's sort of where I'm leading. So we get 2 additional builds to use these pieces, and I'll check to see if there are any cool like mocks that people made, or you know, someone else's creations that are out there where I can find instructions and see if maybe there's something worth building and talking about using these pieces. But I think that's it for this one. I like this. I'm happy to look at something like this again, and always fun to go back and see what has changed over the years. And even though this isn't very old, you know, it probably released and retired before I started the channel. So just kind of a interesting little thing there, and I like it. So that is great, and I think that's it for this one. If you like this video, please click the thumbs up and give it a like. If you like my other videos, click the subscribe button down below so you can stay up to date on all the Lego videos I'll be doing here in the future, including the alternate builds for this, that kind of classic race car and the speedboat or whatever that is, and then tons of other Lego sets from all different themes, all different shape, size, price point, piece count, big sets, small sets, old sets, new sets, used sets, lots of different stuff. Plus all of these sets that are coming out on August 1st, 2025. So if you're interested in my takes on some of those, or want to listen to me talk about Lego for too long on average, maybe consider subscribing. It is a big help and I really appreciate it. So thank you very much. And then if you wanted to support the channel in a different way, you could do that. You can give money to the channel with membership, supers, and thanks. There's a Patreon, there's a buy me a coffee link. There'll be some affiliate links that you can use to buy stuff from a major online retailer, and I might get like a small percentage of that at no additional cost to you. So that's a great way to support. It's just a little bit, but it adds up, and every little bit helps. So thank you very much. And with all of that said, until next time, thanks. Bye.